Okay, so welcome to this reading of me, Starseed Alchemist. If this is your first time here, welcome to the channel. And if you're returning, welcome back. So this is going to be a collective reading, but it is going to be for either a very specific person or a specific group of people. So it may not resonate with you. But however, if you come across this reading, there are some messages here for you, so take it as it fits. And some parts of this are going to be like super say high level messages, so it may not all make sense to you. However, even if you don't understand the message right now, there's a reason why it is being transmitted to you, and you will get it when the time is right. Sometimes you just need to be exposed to something, have it in your consciousness. So this may just be the beginning or the starting point for you on that. So anyway, there is somebody who's been experiencing some pretty bad karma recently, or maybe for a little while. However, that is starting to turn around. It's like they're having a paradigm shift, seeing things differently. And even though they're going through this bad karma, like the shift in their energy, their attitude, it's like they're feeling hopeful, almost like a sense of excitement. There's like an element of trust, trusting what they cannot see. So first I got the Wheel of Fortune in reverse here. So yeah, they're definitely going through some stuff. It's not great, but this is about like more of the consequences of their free will choices that they've made before coming back. So it's like somebody's chickens are coming home to roost type of thing. So in this case, we have like the evil on top and good on the bottom, but because the wheel always turns, that is turning. So they're overcoming that. And evil, I'm not necessarily calling anybody evil. It's just like, think more devil energy, like attachments, deception, things keeping you stuck, that kind of thing. Toxic habits, toxic people. So toxic beliefs, those things, that is where that shift has happened. So then we got the Eight of Swords here. This person was feeling stuck and they were in this negative mind space. They couldn't see a way out of it. So I'm getting like a victim mentality. They're kind of going through this woe is me type of thing. And I feel like this person had poor insight. They were not able to understand why all this stuff was happening. It's kind of like this thing of like, oh, the world is unfair, God is unfair, etc. type thing, right? Like, I've worked so hard. Why is all this happening? Because I'm also feeling like there's something about thunder, and it, thunder strikes like unexpectedly, right? So I'm also getting Tower card. So the person probably had like a Tower moment going on. Something happened unexpectedly. All this happened between sunset and sunrise, so definitely unexpected in a short space of time. Very significant like shift. And then we have Seven of Pentacles, so they're not seeing the fruits of their labor, right? And then we have this Knight of Pentacles, or is it King of Pentacles actually? Yeah, we got the King of Pentacles here. It's like blessings from above, but that is this is where this is changing. Like, their status is changing, their wealth, their security. This person, they were given this gift, they were given all this stuff, but it's like they misappropriated or misused it. They got to a place where they kind of got a little arrogant, I would say. All the blessings that they had, it turned somewhat into self-satisfaction, which is like something I came across on the iChing recently, which I'm gonna get into in a little bit. I already have the cards all there and looked at the lines of change, so that further explains it. However, this person kind of got into this place of just being really focused on their material wealth, status, etc., you know, and forgetting to be grateful for it or something like that, or giving to what they were supposed to. Sharing, I guess. So we got this star card here, this wealth. And the thing for me about this person being naked, it's like they were stripped of everything, right? Even when they lose everything, this person is at this place where no, they've lost everything, but they still have this sense of hope. And yeah, they're naked, they're vulnerable, but it's like they're more grateful and they're giving more now that they have less. And it's like they had to be stripped of those things for them to realize the error of their ways, to create this paradigm shift, this transformation in their life. And then we have the Ace of Wands. So yeah, they're seeing potential in something. They're going after something new, starting over. Yeah, got the Six of Wands. Yeah, definitely they're feeling hopeful about this new direction that they're taking, and that has to do with like learning their lesson. This shift, this failure here was whatever happened suddenly. This is a lesson. They've learned the lesson. And here we got the Hierophant. So I'm getting someone here is walking away from a marriage or some commitment. And definitely something in terms of traditional beliefs and social hierarchy, social structures, and outdated beliefs. That's what I'm getting here. They're walking away from all of that. They've had this shift in perspective. They've learned the lesson from it, and we have the Page of Wands. So they're definitely excited about this new path, this journey, and their future, even if they are at this place where they've been stripped of everything. And we have, and pages are about learning, you know. So we have the Emperor, which is another fire sign. So we got fire and fire. They're growing from this person, this little page here, into this Emperor. So we got Aries and Scorpio energy. They're turning into the Emperor. So all this stuff had to happen, this loss, whatever. The lesson, it was supposed to get them to be this person. And we have the Eight of Cups. So yeah, they had to walk away from something they once wanted, something they saw value in. They've gotten a different perspective on their values, what they want, etc. So with that being said, there was this story when I was getting this message about this person having bad karma, experiencing some bad karma, but still being grateful, being hopeful. It's kind of an energy of someone getting out of a woe is me, victim mentality, and taking action, you know. They've seen something or seen the way forward where they thought there was none, and it kept reminding me of the story, or the part of the story, The Alchemist. I don't know if you've read it or not, but I was gonna summarize it, and I feel like I should just like read a little bit of it, the part of the story that just kept coming to my head, because I had to go find my copy and look it up again to see like what it was. But anyway, this part is, so basically, if you don't know what The Alchemist is, it is the story about a shepherd boy who journeys from Andalusia to North Africa and then to the Egyptian desert in search of the alchemist, and he was looking for his treasure. He had a dream about finding treasure, so he sold his ship and everything, and ventured out on this adventure, left his small town, etc. And he encountered some like challenges along the way where he started doubting himself, and several times thought maybe I should just go back home and go back to what I'm used to, go back to being a shepherd, etc., etc., etc. So this part is where he gets to this small town in Africa. When he finally makes it to Africa, here he goes. He's at a bar or a tavern, and nobody else there speaks English, I guess, or Spanish. Apparently they speak Arabic, or he thinks that's all they speak. So he couldn't really communicate with them. There was this language barrier. And then suddenly somebody comes up to him and he's like, he's always talking about omens, you know? And then this person comes up to him speaking Spanish. So now he feels relieved, right? This person speaks his language. So it starts off, it says, how come you speak Spanish? He asked. The new arrival was a young man in Western dress, but the color of his skin suggested he was from the city. He was about the same age and height as the boy. Almost everyone here speaks Spanish. We're only 2 hours from Spain. Sit down, let me treat you to something, said the boy. And ask for a glass of wine for me. I hate this tea. Okay, there is no wine in this country, the young man said. The religion here forbids it. The boy told him that he needed to get to the pyramids. He almost began to tell about his treasure, but decided not to do so. If he did, it was possible that the Arab would want a part of it as payment for taking him there. He remembered that the old man had said about offering something you didn't even have yet. I'd like you to take me there if you can. I can pay you to serve as my guide. Do you have any idea how to get there? The newcomer asked. The boy noticed that the owner of the bar stood nearby, listening attentively to their conversation. He felt uneasy at the man's presence, but he had found a guide and didn't want to miss out on an opportunity. You have to cross the entire Sahara Desert, said the young man, and to do that, you need money. I need to know whether you have enough. The boy thought it was a strange question, but he trusted in the old man, who had said, when you really want something, the universe always conspires in your favor. He took his money from his pouch and showed it to the young man. The owner of the bar came over and looked as well. The 2 men exchanged some words in Arabic, and the bar owner seemed irritated. Let's get out of here, said the new arrival. He wants us to leave. The boy was relieved. He got up to pay the bill, but the owner grabbed him and began to speak to him in angry stream of words. The boy was strong and wanted to retaliate, but he was in a foreign country. His new friend pushed the owner aside and pulled the boy outside with him. He wanted your money, he said. Tangier is not like the rest of Africa. This is a port, and every port has its thieves. The boy trusted his new friend. He had helped him out in a dangerous situation. He took out his money and counted it. We could get to the pyramids by tomorrow, said the other, taking the money. But I have to buy 2 camels. They walked together through the narrow streets of Tangier. Everywhere there were stalls of items for sale. Okay. So the boy never took his eye off his new friend. After all, he had all his money. He thought about asking him to give it back, but decided that would be unfriendly. He knew nothing about the customs of the strange land he was in. Interesting so far. It's like, so basically this person, he already had like his intuition telling him something wasn't right. Okay, so I'll just watch him, he said to himself, and he ignored his intuition. So he knew he was stronger than his friend. Suddenly, there's the midst of all that confusion, he saw the most beautiful sword he had ever seen. The boy promised himself he would return from Egypt, he would buy that sword. Ask the owner of that stall how much the sword cost, he said to his friend. Then he realized that he had been distracted for a few moments looking at the sword. His heart squeezed as his chest had suddenly compressed. He was afraid to look because he knew what he would find. Yeah, so... So eventually, said the boy wanted to believe that his friend had simply become separated from him by accident. He decided to stay right there and await his return. Okay. So then the sun started to go down. So he recalled that when the sun had risen that morning, he was on another continent, still a shepherd, with 60 sheep and looking forward to meeting with a girl. That morning, he had known everything that was going to happen to him as he walked through the familiar fields. But now, as the sun began to set, he was in a different country, a stranger in a strange land where he couldn't even speak the language. He was no longer a shepherd, and he had nothing, not even the money to return and start everything over. All this happened between sunrise and sunset, the boy thought. He was feeling sorry for himself and lamenting the fact that his life could have changed so suddenly and so drastically. He was so ashamed that he wanted to cry. He had never even wept in front of his own sheep, but the marketplace was empty and he was far from home, so he wept. He wept because God was unfair and because this was the way God repaid those who believed in their dreams. When I had my sheep, I was happy and I made those around me happy. People saw me coming and welcomed me, he thought. But now I'm sad and alone. I'm going to become bitter and distrustful of people because one person betrayed me. I'm going to hate those who have found their treasure because I never found mine. And I'm going to hold on to what little I have because I'm too insignificant to conquer the world. He opened his pouch to see what was left of his possessions. Maybe there was a little bit left of the sandwich he had eaten on the ship. But all he found was the heavy book, his jacket, and 2 stones the old man had given him. As he looked at the stones, he felt relieved for some reason. He had exchanged 6 sheep for 2 precious stones that had been taken from a gold breastplate. He could sell the stones and buy a return ticket, but this time I'll be smarter, the boy thought, removing them from the pocket so he could put them in his pocket. This was a port tongue, and the only truthful thing his friend had told him was that port tongues are full of thieves. Now he understood why the owner of the bar had been so upset. He was trying to tell him not to trust that man. I'm like everyone else. I see the world in terms of what I would like to see happen, not what actually does. Interesting. So, it says when you want something, all the universe conspires in helping you to achieve it. The boy was trying to understand the truth of what the old man had said. There he was in the empty marketplace without a cent to his name and with not a sheep to guard through the night. But the stones were proof that he had met with a king who knew of the boy's past. They're called Urim and Thummim, and they can help you to read the omens. The boy put the stones back in the pouch and decided to do an experiment. The old man had said to ask very clear questions, and to do that, the boy had to know what he wanted. So he asked if the old man's blessings was still with him. He took out one of the stones. It was yes. Am I going to find my treasure? He asked. He stuck his hand into the pouch and felt around for one of the stones. As he did so, both of them pushed through a hole in the pouch and fell to the ground. The boy had never even noticed that there was a hole in his pouch. He knelt down to find Urim and Thummim and put them back in the pouch, but as he saw them lying there on the ground, another phrase came to his mind. Learn to recognize the omens and follow them, the old king had said. An omen. The boy smiled to himself. He picked up the 2 stones and put them back in his pouch. He didn't consider mending the hole. The stones could fall through anytime they wanted. He had learned that there were certain things one shouldn't ask about, so as not to flee from one's own destiny. I promised that I would make my own decisions, he said to himself. But the stones had told him that the old man was still with him, and that made him feel more confident. He looked around at the empty plaza again, feeling less desperate than before. This wasn't a strange place, it was a new one. All right. So there you have it. And interesting enough, went to the I Ching, and the 2 cards that came out were 61 and 16, which this is a mirror, right? 61 and 16, those 2 numbers mirror each other. So then obviously, if you've listened to one of my I Ching readings before, it's about looking at the lines of change. What is it alternating to? So 61, and I couldn't find my bookmarks, I had to use like cards, but 61, that card translates to innermost sincerity. It is read as, according to the I Ching, it is read as wind above, lake below. innermost sincerity, and coordinates with the wood element and the 11th month of the lunar calendar, or the month of December. But innermost sincerity, what is the significance of that? It says it expands the principle of sincerity and trustworthiness. The ancient Chinese regarded these as the source of all virtues. Sincerity and trustworthiness draw people together. They are the root of getting along with people. So I was gonna like summarize it, but I feel like you should probably take your own meaning from it. So it says the eldest and the youngest are in their appropriate position. So it says the wind represents the eldest daughter and the lake represents the youngest daughter. So they love and trust each other. The nature of each is so harmonious with the other that one is gentle and the other joyous. The two lines at the top represent heaven, and the two solid lines on the bottom represent earth. The two yielding lines in the middle represent human beings. Human beings receive nourishment from heaven and earth and inherit the nature of sincerity and trustworthiness. This is why heaven and earth created us. The broken lines in the middle resemble an open heart, free from prejudice and receptive to the truth. Either would be appropriate as the host of the bar. However, sincerity and trustworthiness need inner strength. Okay. So that I thought was very interesting. Okay. And then 16, that card is called Delight, but originally it was called Enthusiasm and Humbleness and Delight. And then there was something about confidence. That says, when one's harvest is great and one can still remain humble, there is sure to be an outburst of delight. Thus, after humbleness, delight follows. So then I was like, what does that mean, right? And what it means is that when one has accomplished great achievements and still remains humble, people will be delighted to gather around. It is too easy for one to indulge in one's own pleasure and forget the delight of other people. So delight was not for one's own sake, but for all. So the key is humility and sincerity. These two qualities bring harmony. So the image of this is thunder above, earth below. Thunder is the sum of yang energy, masculine energy. Thus Confucius says, the ancient king composed music to honor virtue and merit and ardent eagerness. He offered it to God. When thunder bursts above the earth, myriad beings are nourished by its yang energy and become delighted and alive. It is a time of enthusiasm and delight. An enthusiastic and delighted mood is helpful to one's success, but over-enthusiasm and too much delight cause self-satisfaction, and self-satisfaction can lead to misfortune. So then, I looked at the lines of change. What has changed in those two things? Delight is the end state. That is like currently where you are is this innermost sincerity, and it is changing to delight, which is satisfaction, right? And that is where it says the firm meets with response, its will is fulfilled. So what has changed in this situation, or is changing in this situation? The two lines of change are 1 and 4, which are feminine, masculine and feminine lines. Okay. So then I looked at what that was, and for 61, since 61 came first, according to the manual, like you read the first card, right? So when I looked at what has changed from in 61, the lines of change 1 and 4. So 1, it says innermost sincerity alternates to dispersing, and this line is a yang element at a yang place at the bottom of the gua. 1 at this place is sincere and trustworthy. The ancients believed that every infant possesses sincerity and trustworthiness. These virtues are part of human nature. All evils derive from negative social influences. On this ground, one at the bottom place must be sincere and trustworthy. If one is able to maintain these virtues, one can be relaxed and confident. There is good fortune. On the other hand, if one is seeking something other than sincerity and trustworthiness, one will not be at ease. Okay, so there's something related to a toddler or, let me see. Yeah, somebody may have a kid. And I know, like, in one of my readings, one of my oracle cards said that something about the answer is related to your daughter. And then there's another about a baby boy, somebody's son. I guess says your son is being guided or protected on his path. So I think there's somebody who has a kid, and that could be what is causing this person to be hopeful. Something about their kid, something their kid did, or I don't know, they had some sort of epiphany, you know. But the other line of change was the fourth line, which says innermost sincerity alternates to fulfillment. And the fourth line is at a place next to the king. That I found very interesting. The fourth line is at a place next to the king. So when I hear king, I'm like thinking about like the highest power, right? So source. Anyway, this is the highest position in the court, represented by the full moon. Now when you think about the full moon, that is related to feminine energy. It corresponds to the yang element at the bottom, and the two lines are likened to a pair of horses. However, the one at this place decides to follow the one at the fifth line because it is more sincere. In this way, it abandons the bottom one, who is less sincere. Thus, the Yao text says, a pair of horses lost one, and the commentary says, he leaves his companion, turning to the above. This is the right thing to do in the situation. So, in a couple of my other past readings, actually the recent ones, there was something about this masculine energy making a choice. Being disappointed in something they chose, they once wanted, right? And with this, reading from The Alchemist, if you noticed, it was like this person, this boy on his journey, he got in trouble. He lost all his money because he trusted the wrong person. But why did he trust the wrong person? So he did not understand this bar owner, this shop owner. And there was this person who was trying to take advantage of him. This person came in pretending to be a friend, you know, got him to trust them, to where now this, even though he had his trust issues, he knew something was wrong because he was getting this omens. He had this feeling that he should not trust this person with his money. He should not tell this person his ultimate goal, which is to find his treasure. And he felt like it was strange that they were asking him if he has enough money, right? How much? I need to know if you have enough money. So basically what I'm getting is this person here, they were a mark. They didn't know they were a mark. And they kind of like trusted in their intelligence too much, right? Or their strength, their brute strength, I would say. Because he kept saying how he's strong, you know? He can overpower him. He's stronger than his friend. But the thing is, not everybody attacks you outwardly. All your enemies are not gonna come in with force. So it doesn't matter how strong you think you are physically, right? They're strategic. This person was very strategic. First, they got him to trust them. Then they made him promises, like over-promising. They promised that they could get him to where he wanted to be, you know? He trusted them. And why was that? Because he had his eyes on this goal. And he was just excited that, yeah, I'm gonna get there. So anybody who promised him something, like they can help him get there, that was all like he really focused on, and he ignored all the other signs, right? And not only that, but he misinterpreted misinterpreted the guidance that the king gave him that he ran into, which was, if you want something or when you want something, the universe conspires to make it happen. And he ignored, when he says, look at the omens, he ignored one of the most important ones, which was when he met the king was actually dressed in like something that resembled rags, right? He was not dressed like a rich person. It was only after he opened his cloak that he saw this king had this gold breastplate. And then he was like, yeah, something's not adding up here. Like, why are you dressed with this old cloak when you're carrying this gold plate? You have all this, right? And that's when this person told me, yeah, I'm a king, whatever. But anyways, it was like, don't judge a book by its cover. And that was probably like the first lesson that he had to learn, which he ignored, or the first omen. And he made that same mistake. And I feel this is like, they had to make that mistake. There were lessons that needed to be learned, right? Had he not judged a book by its cover, he would not have just automatically believed this person he just met, who came off as a friend when they told him that, hey, this shopkeeper, this bar person, he just wants your money. He wants us to leave. Even if they don't understand the language of what was being said, it trusted this person. Why? Because they spoke the same language. So automatically thinks, hey, this is a friend, right? Everything is not as it appears. You gotta look deeper. And it's like, he said it himself at the end, which was, I'm just like everyone else. I see things the way I want it to be, not the way it actually is. And that is one of those cognitive distortions that causes us trouble in our lives. In fact, when I teach like CBT skills to people, that is one of the ones that we talk about, and it's like radical acceptance. Accept things as they are, not the way you want it to be or you think it should be, you know? And yeah, so that was pretty much what that was. But he chose to trust the wrong person. And the one person who actually had his best interest at heart, he saw this person as the enemy. So I'm getting someone here having this like epiphany. They've, you know, seeing things from a different perspective, understanding things, where there may be somebody in their life who they did that to. They chose someone else they thought was, I guess, more sincere, more righteous, the better choice, only to realize after that person betrayed them and hurt them that they made the wrong choice. They misjudged someone, and yeah, it was unfair. You know, they unfairly judged someone. Ended up like probably hurting the person who was looking out for them in the process. So this person probably had people in their ears, their friends, family, whoever, or even the person that they chose, lying to them, trying to like guide them to make certain decisions. And he was like, I promised myself that I would make my own decisions. You know, and this person probably didn't even realize they were not making their own decisions. They were being played. They were being controlled, manipulated by the people around them simply because they trusted those people and their opinions. Which caused them to ignore their intuition, all the red flags that they were seeing. So there's like a lot. This person's going through these changes, but as the I Ching said, what is changing here is that they're making a choice. They're choosing the person on top. They're choosing the person who is closest to the king, closer to source, some related to the full moon. So this giving divine feminine energy. So for some people where this is a romantic relationship, it could be that they're walking away from a marriage, they're in the process of a divorce, or they're just leaving some committed relationship and they're choosing something else in love. They're choosing another person, which is like, it says, this is the right thing to do in this situation, right? The person, they're realizing that the person they misjudged is actually the, I would say, divine person, the person who's closer to the king, closer to God, closer to where they want to be, closer to them finding their treasure. It says 2 horses and you lost 1. So that's quite interesting. But yeah, this person is they're at a place, a low place, dark place in their life right now, but they're still somewhat hopeful. They're actually very hopeful now, you know. And it's very interesting, like whatever happened, whatever this person did to them, it happened very quickly. They definitely did not see it coming. But anyway, this had to happen. It was the lesson that needed to be learned, and they've learned that lesson, which is allowing them to move forward. And they're also going to be smarter next time, which I think for you, if you are this other person that they misjudged, there's just like, you may be thinking like, this is over with, this is in the past. And because this person is probably not talking to you, not saying anything, they haven't come forward because number one, they need to apologize, but it's like they're also, I would say, being more cautious this time, not making hasty judgments or hasty decisions, and you know, thinking things through, being a little more strategic. Okay, so anyway, this is your reading, and I will see you next time.